Hailed a glorious streaming service, an essential must-have by The Hollywood Reporter, Acorn TV brings you top-rated mysteries and dramas from Britain and beyond. Acorn TV offers critically acclaimed gems, timeless classics, and exclusive Acorn TV originals, all commercial-free. Catch TV's biggest stars like Sandra Oh, David Tennant, Olivia Colman, Tandy Newton, Lucy Lawless, and Benedict Cumberbatch. Looking for an addictive period drama, thrilling whodunit, or heartfelt comedy? It's waiting for you on Acorn TV. Visit www.acorn.tv or download the Acorn TV app on your favorite device. Get an extended 30-day free trial with code TRUECRIME.
Lock your doors, bolt your windows, and turn off the lights. You are about to listen to an episode of Monster Madness.
It's moving. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's moving. It's alive. Oh, it's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. Oh, in the name of God. Now I know what it feels like to be God.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. You're listening to Monster Madness. Tonight we are going to cover the 1931's Frankenstein, starring Boris Karloff. So before we start, I have with me Matt and Erica. So how are you guys?
Hi. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
I said hi.
Do you guys just want to jump right into it?
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trying to play it
All
cool.
right. As of course, this is Frankenstein. So if you haven't seen it, I would say go and do so. So the first part of it, it starts off in a cemetery. You got Dr. Frankenstein and his helper. His name's Fritz. They're observing a funeral burial.
Because that's not weird.
From the distance. Yeah, it's a little odd. I thought it was kind of odd.
Whatever
They
you're
sit
into.
and watch the whole entire thing.
I mean, watching a funeral service is one thing. I mean, is it weird? Because I used to walk through cemeteries when I was like a teenager.
But why?
It was just a shortcut through.
I used to run in them.
Case in
But
point.
also, my grandmother really
Me
liked to walk through them because they were really peaceful. And we would go up. There's this like tradition. I can't remember if it's a Jewish tradition, but when you visit a loved one in a cemetery, you leave a stone on top of the headstone. So the ones that didn't have any visitors, we would visit them and put stones on top.
If anybody knows about that tradition, you can tell us if that's...
Yeah, let me know if that's
comes from.
accurate or not. I'm not 100% sure, but we used to do that. Is that weird? But then we found
It's incredibly weird. It actually sounds like you and your grandmother are serial killers.
Well, we did find some like weird satanic ritual in the cemetery one time. We called the cops.
Hey, Santa Claus is buried in the cemetery. I used to go cross-country
What are
running.
you talking about, Santa Claus?
It said Saint Nick, and he was buried in New Jersey. We used to go running through the cemetery all the time, and I'd be like, "Oh, Santa Claus!"
Sure.
Yeah, I call bullshit, but we can just move on.
I'll take a picture.
All right, so
What's up?
Frankenstein and Fritz are watching a funeral.
Yeah, so they're watching the funeral. They watch the whole entire thing. They bury the body, and then Fritz and Frankenstein, they uncover it. They dig it up to steal the corpse.
Which is a lot of work.
Definitely, it
Seems like
even
an
seems
insane
like it
amount of
did
work.
because they did a little bit of a time lapse, and I think he even said at one point like the moon is rising, which probably I guess would mean daylight's coming.
I guess.
I would think so. And then I guess what was that after that they as they're going away with that body, they head over to the gallows to cut down a guy that's hanging.
Again, not weird. I never did anything weird like that.
Well, I mean, you got to think. So it's the 1930s. I guess they're still hanging people in public.
Well, the movie was made in the 1930s. We don't know what actual year they're trying to like convey.
Yeah, because you got the candlelight and everything, so you can probably go back a little further.
Because the book was written, I would say, in the late 1800s. I don't know. I don't actually think I ever read this Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Mhm.
I don't know.
So then I guess like a big kind of a part of that scene, he cuts him down, the body falls, and then Frankenstein goes, Oh, the neck is broken. We have to get a new brain.
We must find a new brain.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I know. I'm good like that. Matt doesn't think so because he's Matt.
Yeah.
Go drink a White Claw.
I only have Trulies.
Gonna get unruly.
You didn't get through that case yet?
No, I think there's like 3 left. I prefer beer, and I have way more beer than Trulies right now.
This is true. I'm jealous of your collection.
My liver
Anybody
is not.
wanted to know? Matt here, he collects beer.
I wouldn't. I just don't drink it fast enough.
He collects it in his gut.
Tomorrow's gonna be a bad morning.
Well, you chose this life.
I know. I gotta go back to work too.
It's a bummer.
As all.
It's okay.
Anyway.
So then at this point, Fritz breaks into the med school of Dr. I'm trying to say this right because is it Waldman's?
Waldman? Dr.
Yeah,
Waldman?
Dr. Waldman with like kind of like a V, but it's like Wald.
Well, yeah, it's a German accent, so the W's sound like
Waldman.
V's. Wald.
Yeah, I was trying to get that the whole time. Though. While watching the
Waldman.
movie, I was like, is his name Waldman or Waldman?
Waldman. We would bastardize it and say Waldman, but they pronounce it Waldman.
Exactly.
So the big scene in here is Fritz goes in. He takes the normal brain. I guess a sound or something goes or he thinks somebody's coming in.
Yeah, something spooks him.
He drops the brain and then they switch to like a pan scene where it's abnormal brain.
Blat.
I
Good
did
brain
really
went flat.
appreciate that normal brain was just labeled with a piece of tape.
It's efficient.
It really is.
Yeah, just normal brain.
Less is more.
So and they kind of both look the same to me. Did anybody notice anything different? Like how'd they know that it was
There was a
abnormal?
black hole in the bottom of the abnormal brain.
Ooh.
There was something that made it Abby
Something
normal.
weird.
Mhm.
So he takes that brain and heads back to Frankenstein.
Yep. Which wouldn't you kind of tell him, be like, look, I kind of messed up. I dropped the good brain of this like genius, and I grabbed this other one. Well, he doesn't have much else going for him. He has a huge hump on his back. His name is Fritz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Fritz.
And
the whole time I thought he was Igor because I'm used to
Well-
the famous Igor.
Yep.
well, yeah, that I don't know when the whole.
When did
Well,
that
is it
switch? Like,
Igor or
is that-
Igor? Because we've watched Young Frankenstein way too
Igor.
much.
I would say Igor, but
Yeah, it's
You're probably
Igor. But
Sorry for diehard fans out there.
well, here's the thing: if you're a diehard fan, you'll know that there is no such character in Mary
It's
Shelley's
Igor.
story.
yeah.
Yeah, Fritz was the first, I think,
Was the first
Inception. Yeah, with
Okay.
like this hunchback assistant. Which, if you're gonna have an assistant, why? And why would you pick Dwight Fry, who was Renfield? So he's just a creep in general.
I don't know, but there's some weird names. I mean, you
What,
got-
Fritz?
Yeah, you got Fritz, and I guess
I
the
know a
fourth
Fritz.
name's-
You're weird, but okay. Never met anyone.
Erica's are weird.
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
with a K.
with a K. I know 2 of
spell it
them.
wrong.
50% of them suck.
Well, I'm sorry.
You're not that 50%.
I'd say probably 25%.
I don't want to do math.
I've had too many beers.
that's another way of saying that. I'm doing Googling here because I don't remember why I was doing Googling, but
Going back to the beer.
yeah, no, that's totally part of it. But the Frankenstein in 2015, is that going to be the current companion we do with this? Because I've never seen this movie.
Is it
Possibly.
Is it I Frankenstein?
No, I Frankenstein was 2014. Frankenstein was 2015.
Did they do it? Oh, well, then it
Oh,
would be
is that
that
the one
one.
with-
A
It's like the
modern day
futuristic-
retelling set in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yes.
the future. That's the future one. right?
Yes, I had I Frankenstein down as the companion, but if there's a more modern one,
Oh yeah,
yes.
it's like
Okay.
spaceships. And
Okay.
all
And
bunch
and
of craziness.
I have not seen either of them, so I'm up for seeing either of them. But
I'm excited.
I thought we saw some. Maybe we just saw like the commercial.
Probably. I don't even
I don't
remember this.
Remembered a lot of it.
I have to acquire this.
it was many
I'm
years
excited.
Yeah,
ago.
we'll definitely get to that.
Good job.
I've earned my paycheck.
You have that whole $3.
I'll take it. It's
So-
more than I get for playing in a band.
There you go.
Yeah.
But you get enjoyment.
Yeah, whatever helps you sleep at night.
Okay, I'm not sleeping well, but you know,
I
whatever.
don't sleep well either.
I sleep like a baby.
I know Dan's the only one that has like
Out in 10 minutes,
10 minutes, 10 seconds.
probably.
A friend of the show, Randy Fitzsimmons, was here earlier, and I was talking to him, and he's like, as soon as I put my head on a pillow, I'm out. And I'm like, I hate you so much right now.
That's the way he is. I don't get it. I
Gotta
can't
get in
do
that
it.
comfy spot. You know, make sure your feet are covered. You know, shoulder covered. Boom, you're out.
Sleeps like the dead. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I can't handle that.
Mm-mm.
All right, so next scene. So we finally meet Elizabeth, which is Frankenstein's wife-to-be,
His lady.
his lady.
Is it his lady? Yeah, it's his lady.
Elizabeth.
All right.
So Elizabeth is she's talking to a friend. His name is Victor, about a letter that came in the mail to her, and it talks about how Henry Frankenstein talks about how he can't go on with the wedding until he finishes his work. So they're like, oh, we have to look into this, and they head over to the watchtower where all the experiments are happening.
Yeah, he just like kind of creepily holds up in this
why wouldn't
walk.
you tell her in person? Like, it's kind of weird that like
he's very invested in his work.
They've only been talking by letter, but then like he would have to leave the watchtower to give to somebody or maybe he gave it to Fritz to mail it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to have an assistant, make him send your mail for you.
Yeah. So so while all this is happening, Henry and Fritz are preparing the monster for tests, as they say. Mm-hmm. And then the group arrives at the door, and he's like, "Get him away! Get him away!" Or not necessarily that, but he tries to.
He was pretty frantic.
Yeah, he tries to get rid of him, and it just doesn't happen. So he invites them in.
Can't beat him, join him.
Yeah. So Henry allows them to stay and watch his experiments after some protest. I guess they. So this was I thought was odd. So they raise the body up to the top of the tower. At this point, like as we've seen multiple different Frankensteins. Does the storm even have anything to do with this experiment?
Electricity.
Yeah, I feel like it's pretty common knowledge that the electricity was needed to actually kickstart.
But he has
kickstart My Heart Motley Crew
that produced the electricity.
I think it's more like kind of a Back to the Future type things. Like he needs like 1.21 gigawatts.
So he needs the extra.
Yeah, he needs a bunch.
Proud of you.
Okay. All right. Because then at this point, the body's electrified with, I guess, that voltage. And they bring him down, and then you see the famous scene of like the arm falls and it kind of twitches.
It rises.
And then Frankenstein examines the body, and he's like, "It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!" And then he goes off into his little tangent.
That famous scene. You got to appreciate that, even if you don't like these types of movies. You have to appreciate that iconic scene.
And then his monster stands up and dances to Thriller. I made that up.
So the first time I watched this, I totally missed the scene, and I came back in. I'm like, what the heck? Where's the scene?
I know. He was arguing with me. He's like, they didn't even do the It's Alive in this version. He's like, what kind of version of this movie did you get?
Took our dog out. His name is Watson for a walk, bathroom break. And I came back in. I'm like, Frankenstein's alive.
Hey, there's this button on your remote. It's 2 arrows.
It's so funny.
I probably should have done that. Hey. So after watching it the second time, I appreciated the scene very much. So then where were we? So Frankenstein is finally alive.
Yeah, and he's like this very large person because he's like all these body parts from different...
And at this point, he doesn't walk. They just kind of like, I guess, hide him or put him into a different room?
Yeah.
We haven't seen the famous walking yet.
We do need to correctly call it Frankenstein's monster, though.
Yeah. So
true.
So you jump into, I guess, the next scene. Some time passes. You hear about Baron. Who is Henry's father?
Baron Frankenstein.
So
now
Baron
that's a name.
Frankenstein.
That is a fucking name.
He's worried about his son. He wants to know why isn't it coming into town? What's going on? So he heads off to visit him as well.
Mm-hmm.
So he heads up to the watchtower, and in between this and him visiting, Waldman is also there, who is like, I guess is the professor. Waldman is the professor that used to teach Frankenstein. So I guess there's a little bit of jealousy between them.
I guess there's definitely like some competition.
So at this point, Waldman tells him that about the brain. So he goes, "Hey, the brain that was stolen was a damaged brain." And Frankenstein's like, "I don't care. Like, a brain's a brain."
He's like, "Oh, I don't know."
But the whole time before that, he's asking for a regular brain. So I think he does care.
Well, yeah, for sure he cares, but
he's like, now I know why.
Probably like fucking.
Now I know why the monster's acting so weird.
Oh yeah, because the monster doesn't speak.
So then the monster walks in on them. He's eavesdropping.
Well, yeah, but describe the monster a little bit because like he doesn't speak.
No, he walks in. He's very tall. I'd say he's probably like probably 7 feet tall.
Something. Yeah, they make him as tall as you.
So he's 7 foot. Put together.
He's huge.
Piece by piece, huge. Definitely walks
Does
He's
he?
not walking fast. He's more walking like.
I don't like how he
plank-like?
moves in this at first. I just want to get that out there now. That's my biggest complaint with this movie.
Well, he's like a new baby. He doesn't know how to
He's
move.
staggering. He's,
but he's like,
bumbling around.
then he runs and like jolts at people, and it didn't seem like there was. Like, I agree. He's a newborn baby. He doesn't know how to move. He should
He's
kind of.
not talking. He's just like kind of.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So he walks in, and I guess I would think maybe Frankenstein asks for Fritz, or Fritz is in there at the same time with a torch.
Oh,
And
when
he's like starting to scare him, and they find out that the monster is scared.
Is this after they do like the test to see, be like, hey, we can control him? Like, look, go sit down. He sits in the chair.
Yeah, it's kind of at the same time because he sits too long, and then they go to get Fritz comes. I guess Fritz at this point, Fritz comes to
Well,
get
this is
him.
when he was in his cell. Like, he has like a little cell type area that they put Frankenstein.
No, this is before that.
Is it before? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go
This
ahead.
is before that.
I think I'm mixing up
Because
my
there's
scenes.
a chair in the room too, like a third chair.
Okay, yeah, no, you're right. I'm mixing up my scenes.
Scares him with the torch, and then he goes bring him down and lock him in the cell.
Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm mixing up my scenes.
So,
Yeah, he's afraid. They notice that he's afraid of fire for some
Yeah.
reason.
So they bring him, like you said, they bring him into the cell, and a little bit of a waiting time, and then finally the Baron, his father, arrives. So while he's downstairs, Fritz and Frankenstein are alone at this point, and I guess they're upstairs, and this is when he starts teasing him again with the fire. With the
Yeah,
torch.
that was really messed up.
And then he kills him. So he
Wait,
hangs
who
him.
kills who?
Frankenstein kills Fritz.
Well,
and-
yeah, I
and
mean,
hangs
Fritz.
him.
Fritz has this fucking whip,
But
and
what did he hang him with? That's what I was
The
trying
whip.
to figure out. Oh, he hung him with the whip.
Yeah, no, okay. So
I thought
Fritz.
he was hanging with the chain.
So Fritz keeps like messing with him and like flinging the fire at him, and he tries to keep whipping him and whipping him. Frankenstein comes down, and he's just like, "Oh, I can't even bear to see this," because he realizes his creation's messed up. Like, it's a great accomplishment to reanimate a dead person into a living person, but it got messed up because Fritz messed up the brain. Arguably, that's the biggest issue here. But then Fritz has to be a dick. When he was like swinging from the rafters, I was not sad. I felt so bad for Frankenstein. This whole movie, I feel bad for Frankenstein. This movie makes me very sad. Really? Nothing? Nobody feels
I
sad?
wasn't that sad.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I'll live another day.
Listen, okay, hold on. Think about it this
We're
way.
dicks.
I have to get on my soapbox. Frankenstein did not choose, or Frankenstein's monster, to keep Matt happy, the monster did not choose to be reanimated. It did not choose to be created. It has no basic understanding of what's going on around it. So they're going to fling fire at him and whip him? That's not cool.
I don't disagree with you one bit,
But it feels like you are.
but it's a fucking movie.
I know, but still, it made me sad.
She was Frankenstein when she was a kid. for
I know, that
Halloween.
was like my
Brings
first...
her back memories.
Yeah, I had like a little hat. I had a green face. I went "Rah," all the time. I'm going to post a picture on Instagram.
Please do.
I am. It's adorable.
I don't disagree with you saying like he didn't sign up for what happened, but at the end of the day, it's a 30s movie, and I think you're putting too much thought and feeling into it.
I always do that though.
And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with your stance on it. I just think,
wait till we get to the movies where I start crying,
Oh boy.
and wait till we get to the musical numbers.
So I guess
I'm saying it now. If there's singing in a movie, I'm turning it off and not finishing the movie.
You said that during Dracula. We'll see.
Was there singing in Dracula?
No, you said the same exact sentence because musicals got brought up. There's no horror musicals.
Yes, there is.
Is there?
Yes. Bill Moseley was in it. Give me 2 seconds to find this.
There's
It's
Buffy.
called the Genetic
There's that
Opera. What is it?
episode-
What
There's
is it
that
called?
episode of Buffy.
Yeah, I'll make Matt watch one episode of Buffy the Vampire
I've watched the
Slayer.
entire series.
What does it mean to be all in? It means you're confident you're doing the right thing. You commit to it. For Dominion Energy, we're all in on helping the environment. We're all in on clean energy, all in on solar, all in on building the nation's largest offshore wind farm. We're even capturing the methane from local farms to create renewable natural gas. We're not doing it because it's the easy thing to do, but because it's the right thing to do. For your family and friends, your neighbors and your community, for the future, for our planet. Dominion Energy. Actions speak louder.
Repo, the Genetic Opera. It is a
Oh, I have heard of that.
yes. Bill
Okay, so
Moseley's
there's
in it.
one.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, is there monsters in that?
Not necessarily. No. No, not at all, actually. So,
I might make that like a bonus my choice movie.
A worldwide epidemic encourages a biotech company to launch an organ financing program similar in nature to standard car loan. Repossession clause is a killer.
No.
Yeah.
But I may make you watch it. Have you ever seen it?
Yeah, I did it for a different podcast.
Ew.
A long time ago. Before Podcast of Terror existed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting you've been podcasting for like 25 years.
Yep. Since I was 12. 25.
You're not 37.
No, since I was 7.
It'd be cool if we saw pictures of like Matt aging podcasting.
Matt through the
It's like
years,
the
he's
same
just growing
was it
into
the
the
same
headphones.
microphone? It's been the same mic the whole time.
Nope.
I say,
Nope.
Ah,
I started
see
off.
the stages.
I'm fairly certain there's videos out there. Anyways, we digress.
yeah.
All
Okay,
right.
so Fritz is dead.
So I guess at
Good.
this point, finally the Baron arrives. He convinces Henry to come home. In the midst of Henry deciding to come home, he talks to Waldman, who's like, "Hey, like you created a monster. You proved that you did life. How about I destroy the monster because he killed Fritz?" And he's like, "Okay, you can destroy the monster." And then Henry decides to come home.
I don't think it's that deep. I don't think the monster should have died because Fritz died.
Yeah, but Henry's got to
Agreed.
come home to get married. So now the big thing is like he needs to come home. He needs to get married. He needs to be with Elizabeth.
All right, he can do that. They don't need to kill the monster.
Yeah. So then a little bit of a flash forward into the movie. It's now their wedding day, and Waldman decides to destroy the monster. And right before the last scene that we saw, he before they control the monster, they stab it and sedate him.
Oh yeah,
So
they
is he
knock him out.
sedated up to this point? Because in this scene, he's strapped to a table and he's asleep.
I mean, they had to do
and
something
he's like
because
looking like he's about to do surgery. Maybe take the body parts, like take him,
he's like taking off an arm. He's like, ah.
he's gonna take him apart.
I guess.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. It has that like 1930s feel.
Yeah.
It's obviously a 1930 movie because
So
you don't know what's going on.
Waldman reaches over and the monster grabs him, and I guess it kind of drifts off, and I guess you assume that he killed him, and he gets away.
Somehow, yeah.
Yeah, so he gets away, and then you see then you see him walking up to a little girl named Maria who's playing by the lake. And this is like I guess the famous flower scene where he's playing with the flowers and they're throwing him into the water, and he runs out of flowers, and then he picks up little Maria and throws her into the water, and she drowns to death.
Okay, look, I know that this was a bad move on Frankenstein's part.
I know you were upset. You're like, "Oh my god."
I mean, I wasn't that upset. I felt bad for Frankenstein, except this part. I'm like, well, that was a bad move. But I understand where he made the mistake. They were doing the whole, like, he loves me, she loves me not. He loves, that whole thing.
They're just throwing the whole thing
I mean,
in there.
pretty much. But, like, I'm just trying to give, like, an example. Like, oh, you're just picking and throwing stuff.
Yeah.
And then he ran out of flowers, and he just assumed she was just picking up stuff and throwing it. And that girl maybe should have learned how to swim if she was going to be near water. I shouldn't blame.
I get upset when I throw flowers into the water. So I understand.
I'm just saying.
It happens.
That was a bad move on Frankenstein's part. I can't justify him making a little girl drown. But how did they know that it was Frankenstein that threw her into the water? Nobody saw Frankenstein. Nobody even knew who he was.
Well, he runs.
Plot hole.
He runs. That is a kind of a plot hole. But at this part, he runs back into town.
Well, is it who?
The monster. He's run.
Yeah,
You
Frankenstein's
see
monster.
him leaving, so he's running away, and then
Well, he was upset.
yeah. So
He
then
knew he did something wrong.
He eventually arrives to Frankenstein's house, and at this point, they're getting ready for the wedding.
Yes.
Elizabeth's talking to Henry,
Yes.
and they're like, "Wait, do you hear that?" And
Bunch of commotion.
they're like, "It's Frankenstein's monster." So they go to chase him.
Well,
Why
no,
they
no.
think
I
he's
don't,
downstairs.
do they say that it's his monster? Does he even like claim ownership for the monster? They're just like, it's a monster.
I don't think so. I think they kind of say like somebody's trying to break into the house.
Yeah, someone's like
And
murdering
they chase,
people.
They chase after him, and while they're running downstairs, he comes into the room that Elizabeth's in, and he kind of like grabs her up and chokes her out.
Yeah, he like roughs her up.
Yeah,
He didn't kill her though.
He doesn't kill her because they find out he's in there, and he climbs out the window.
Was this before? because I don't know why I can't remember. But is this before the father of Maria found her in the water and walked her through the?
This is kind of at the same time. So
Okay.
he's walking to town.
Yeah, Maria's
this is
father.
happening, and then right after this happens, the father comes in. Frankenstein and all the people in the wedding kind of walk out of their house and witness the whole town in uproar about this little girl that's dead. And then he decides, I'm going to lead the town to go find him.
Yeah. Okay. So another plot hole that I'm kind of finding. Wouldn't you just see that your daughter was in the water and just assume that she drowned versus someone throwing her in?
Maybe because he's so strong, she had marks on her arms or legs, like the way he picked her up.
That's a good point. I didn't think about
Something
that.
like that could have happened.
It's possible.
What do you think, Matt?
I think Matt hated this movie.
I did not care for this movie in the least bit.
All right, so at this point, the town people, Frankenstein and his group of people are all decided to find the monster. So Frankenstein approaches him up on, like, I guess a mountaintop. It's like either a large hill or it's a mountaintop of some
Yeah, it's
fort.
definitely like up high.
They get in a huge fight, and the monster overcomes him, and I guess same thing, knocks him out, and then picks him up and carries him to hide in the windmill.
Oh, the windmill.
Mm-hmm.
So the townspeople see him go into the windmill, and I guess are they asking for Frankenstein back? Do they even realize that Frankenstein's in there? Or they just
Well, they heard him screaming, and that's why they knew where to go. And I'm assuming they figured out that he's in there, probably injured because this superhuman monster type guy is wreaking havoc on their town.
Yeah. So Frankenstein's monster throws Henry out. Is it a window, or he throws him out of the windmill?
He just gets him out of the windmill,
and he lands on the ground. And they're just like, bring him back to the town. Make sure he gets help.
My bro would have a broken back.
And then they burn it down.
Again, I'm sad.
So, and then the monster's scared of fire, so he's like, oh,
yeah,
and
I feel
screaming
bad for
and
him.
rolling around. And then did they ever show? You don't see him, like, I guess the remains of him, right?
No, similar to Michael Myers,
So,
you don't see
dun dun dun. Is he
those
alive?
ashes.
Is
You
he
don't see
gone?
those bones.
Is he alive?
We
Is
don't
he
know.
gone?
That's
We
what
don't
allows 37 more Frankenstein movies.
There's not 37.
Exactly.
No, there's maybe.
And then
There's like 7.
And then pretty much after this, it's pretty easy going,
Oh, yeah.
Henry and Elizabeth, they're in the bedroom. She's like toweling his head, like, oh, get better, honey.
Dabbing.
And it kind of just fades away. And that was it.
Boom.
That's the movie.
Credits. See, I'm sorry. I feel bad for Frankenstein. He was greatly misunderstood.
No, I completely, and that's not something that is not revisited. The fact that Frankenstein's monster was misunderstood, or no one quite understood what it is to feel like to be dead and to come back and to try to comprehend that. So,
Like what you're trying to do right now? Trying to make thoughts. through beer.
no, thoughts are very difficult right now. Between the dog barking and the all-day beers, it's getting incredibly difficult. But I got sleepy halfway through that one.
You know what time it is?
8:50.
It's game time.
Oh, shit.
I was like, I'm looking at a clock. I know what time it is. Don't patronize me, Daniel.
You're all going to die down here.
I want to play a game.
It's showtime.
I'm so glad the theme music is better.
I'm over
than that.
here in the winner's circle. There.
So if you're keeping track at home, Daniel's up 2, Matt is 0 in this game. And
it doesn't
But
matter
look
how
on
many
his
games you
face.
win. It's
why?
because I've won 0, so I'm just here for a good time.
And if you can tell,
a good time you are.
Yeah.
you can tell that Matt is not taking it well.
Oh gosh,
Mm-hmm.
he might beat me on this one.
You might.
Who knows?
Doubt it. But let's
We'll
go.
see. We'll see. Okay, questions of the damned people. All right.
For the winning streak.
Matt,
continue.
I'll probably give you each question first, just because I
That's
feel.
fine. I allow it. Because I did a lot of talking for this
And
one.
each question you get will be worth 30 points. Dan's will be worth negative 10.
All you have to do is get one right, and that's all you have to do to win.
Seriously. All right.
What
What
color?
actor rejected the role of Frankenstein's monster? Lon Chaney, Lon Chaney Jr., or Bela Lugosi?
Just say lawn, you get like half of it right.
Shit.
Do not Google it.
I'm not. Boris Karloff played Frankenstein's monster. Lon Chaney was the dad in not Frankenstein, the Wolfman.
Lon Chaney played Phantom of the Opera in the silent film. Lon Chaney Jr. played the Wolfman.
Okay.
Bela Lugosi played Dracula.
It's all like the same fucking 5 people. It's like playing in a metal band in Wisconsin.
Exactly.
Bela
You can
Lugosi.
do this. I believe in you.
I'm going to say Bela Lugosi because I know he's 6'1".
Oh, Matt got something right.
Holy shit, I used logic, motherfucker.
You got 105 points for that.
Gryffindor wins.
Gryffindor wins. That is not copyrighted. Okay, I don't know. I'm just joking.
Gosh.
They can't do anything.
Oh gosh, we're gonna get shut down.
All right, Daniel.
No, I thought you were gonna let him.
No, let Daniel go. I want to win.
Now, I'll be fair. He has 105 points against your 0. JK, you have 1 point. All right. How old was Mary Shelley when she wrote the book Frankenstein? 54, 19, 37.
I'm gonna go with 37 because people weren't like old probably at that time frame. So 37 sounds like a good number.
And you would be wrong.
Your logic is fucked.
She made it to 54, didn't she?
Hold on. Matt still has to answer.
What was it, 19 and 54?
Yes.
54.
God, you both suck so
Now we're
hard.
fucking
She was 19. That girl had an idea and she ran with it at
Never
19.
expected a woman to be smart at the age of 19 back then.
I don't know if it paid off for her. Actually, how much money she got for Frankenstein?
Probably not
she was
much. I think she's
dead by the time the movie came out.
Right.
All right.
Should have went with 19.
So, Matthew, true or false? So you have a 50% chance of getting this wrong, which is most likely going to happen. All right.
Wait, do I automatically get the point then?
No.
No. We're just going to skip it.
Yeah.
What?
I'm trying to give
some.
No, you don't automatically get the point for just.
I'm trying to make it so I win once in a while.
Yeah, I'm not doing any default points. Matt has 1,005 points to your measly 2.
Okay.
Bitch.
So it looks like Matt's winning this round. All right. So true or false? Director James Whale was jealous of the attention that Boris Karloff was getting while filming the movie. So to get back at him, he made him carry his co-star, Colin Clive, the guy who played Henry Frankenstein, up and down a mountain over and over again and refused to let him use a dummy so the weight wasn't that bad. True or false?
True.
Oh, thank God. Because that was very oddly specific.
No, I know.
You're
And that's why I
correct.
was like, that. If you spent that much time to figure out something that was that specific, then.
You are correct, sir. So that brings Matt to 1 million points.
I think I can win. There's probably not that many questions.
I'm just kidding. Matt is
We'll
up
be here
2.
all night.
All right, Daniel. In the film, Boris Karloff famously wears very large, bulky shoes in his monster costume. How much did these shoes weigh each? So each shoe weighed this much. 5 pounds, 13 pounds, 20 pounds.
5 pounds. What? That's a heavy.
Even if I did truly give Matt 1 million points each question, it looks like he would have won this fair and square. So, Matt, what do you think? 5, 13, or 20 pounds?
13.
Oh, man. Matt is on fire at this round. I think he's Googling.
No, not at all.
I'm just joking.
Hand to God, I have not Googled a single question.
All right. So
I'm a super genius after 9 beers.
My winning streak is over.
I know.
I don't even know what order
was
these are going to
nice.
get released, so I didn't want to say
Being
too much.
in the winner's
but
circle, I'd
suck
like to
it,
thank
Daniel.
my family.
Hold on. You still got one question. You still got one question, but it's going to Matt first.
Doesn't matter, bitch. I'm about to go 4-0, motherfucker. Sorry. I'm a very, very poor winner.
It's okay. He made very, very
rude remarks.
He did when the video and audio cut out for a hot second.
Well, that's fine. I didn't hear him.
Karma is up.
Yeah, Karma's a bitch right now for him.
Yep.
All right, so who was not invited to the premiere of Frankenstein because they were considered such an unknown actor at the time? Colin Clive, who played Dr. Frankenstein, Dwight Fry, who played Fritz, the assistant, or Boris Karloff, who played the monster?
Fritz.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm going to go with Frankenstein on this one.
Dan is correct, but Matt is still the winner with 3 points.
Bitch, I knew it didn't even matter, so I just fucking said whatever I said.
Because Fritz was in the Dracula movie.
Yes, but they did not invite Boris Karloff because this was his big break, this movie. After this, he became a Universal monster, like,
Super
crazy
sex
famous,
machine?
famous actor. Like, he was on the map, and he was 44 at the time of this movie. He had played in probably, I'd say, easily 20 things before this movie, and none of them really took off. But then he played this movie, and it was just a completely different story for him.
Huh. I guess I didn't realize that this is where Boris Karloff got to start. Because it's obviously a name that I know. Yeah,
I mean, it's like unanimous with monster movies is Boris Karloff because he plays this, he plays the Mummy, I think he played in most of the Frankenstein movies. Not all of them, but most. All right, before we end the show, we have to tell the listeners if we personally would recommend that they watch this movie or if we don't recommend it. Dan, you can go first.
I would say I recommend this movie just because it's the original. And you do have some famous scenes if you pay attention and you don't go and leave the house.
And miss the It's Alive scene.
Yeah, and miss the It's Alive scene. Yep. How about you, Matt?
God, so you kind of got me on the fact that you said that it's the original. Outside of that, no, not at all.
Like, it's good for like a one watch.
Yeah, I will
to
never
say you watched it.
Ever watch this movie again.
So, would you recommend it?
No. No.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, would you recommend it, Erica?
I would probably recommend it. Just I think because it's like I said with Dracula too. It's like a cornerstone of what the horror genre would become, and Frankenstein is such a popular monster.
Yeah,
and so vital in that whole group of the original Universal monsters that I think you should at least watch it once. So I do recommend it. It's not like a throwaway movie that I don't know how to really phrase it, but yes, I would recommend it. So that's 2 recommends, 1 don't recommend from a sore winner.
Yeah, I'm the worst.
You are. But that's okay.
All right.
It could be worse.
Herr Frankenstein was interested only in human life. First to destroy it, then recreate it.
So that's the end for today. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. If you'd like to support the show, you can become a donor at Patreon or buy merch at TeePublic. All of the links will be posted in the show notes. And bye. Thanks for listening.
You're crazy.
Crazy, am I? We'll see whether I'm crazy or not.
We are all in on clean energy, on solar, wind, and natural gas from renewable resources like methane capture at local farms, because we're all in for our planet, a cleaner future, your family, and we're all in for generations to come. Dominion Energy. Actions speak louder.